Welcome, everyone. Good evening, all. We'll be starting shortly. Welcome. My speaker. Um, Hi, is the speaker in yet?
Dear patriots and change agents, welcome to the Nigerian Leadership Series Town Hall, a proud subsidiary of the Africa Leadership Group, powered by the Tri-Africa Empowerment Foundation. We're so glad to have you here for this weekly virtual town hall, where renowned thought leaders and engaged citizens come together for meaningful discussions that spark ideas, promote responsible leadership, and advance good governance for our beloved nation. Hosted by Pastor Itwai Godalo, President and Founder, this series reflects his vision, which is to promote the emergence of real, ethical, and accountable leaders for good governance, not just in Nigeria, but across the continent. We are a non-religious, non-partisan, non-political organization powered by people just like you, individuals whose vision align with ours to drive sustainable development across Africa. At the Tri-Africa Empowerment Foundation, we believe Nigeria's diversity, our cultures, ethnicities, and tribe is our greatest strength. Through initiatives like the Ito Olajide Godalo Real Mentorship Program, project management courses, and the Civic Awareness and Citizens Engagement Programs, our School of Leadership and Governance offers stellar opportunities in leadership training, capacity building, and social development. Under our Community Development Initiative, projects like Feed a Neighbor, Feed a Nation have reached over 2,000 families facing food insecurity across 6 states. Our recently commissioned Hope Alive Fund is designed to empower and support entrepreneurship in underserved communities. In collaboration with civil society partners, we are building a coalition for participatory governance that works at the grassroots level to strengthen good governance and effective administration at the local government. We invite you to join us on this journey as we lay the bricks one at a time in building a resilient and formidable Africa. Please join us every Thursday at 5 p.m. West African time, live on Zoom. The meeting link is the same: simple, consistent, and open to all. Also, stay connected and inspired all week long and follow us on all our social media as posted here. Mark your calendars, invite a friend, and let's grow together. The Nigeria Leadership Series Town Hall, Building Leaders, Celebrating Unity, and Shaping Africa's Future. See you again next Thursday at 5 p.m. right here on Zoom.
Warm greetings and welcome to today's edition of the African Leadership Series, the African Leadership Group Nigerian Leadership Series. My name is Itwa Igodalo, and I'm pleased to welcome you to this edition. And speaking to us today is a friend and a brother who has been into media, advertising, and branding since 1981. He's a graduate of, I believe, the Obafemi Awolowo University or University of Lagos, and has worked with Lintas, which was the premier inter pares in advertising in those days. Went on to PromoServe before founding Prima Garnet. He's very, very eloquent, tall, dashing, handsome, and very passionate about Nigeria. Please welcome with me today my brother and my friend, Mr. Lolu Akinwunmi. You are welcome, my brother. I hope all is well.
Okay, can you hear me now?
We can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much for the very lavish introduction. Just a little addition. I went, and I hope my friends won't mind. I went to a much better university called Unilag, not Ife.
No, I corrected myself. I thought it was Ife. You look like one of those Ife warriors, but I then saw that it was actually Unilag. So, well, you can fight the Ife boys and they will fight you back. You're on your own. I've done my best for you. Very quickly, because I'm going to be handing over to Sonny and Jumoke shortly. I want you to please
Okay.
tell us, Lulu, that what is the brand of a nation? Why should a nation have a brand? And following off from there, because we're talking today on the Nigerian brand and insecurity, or Nigerian brand and security. What is the brand of a nation? Why should a nation have a brand? And from your own perspective, how has Nigeria branded herself to date? And then how what is the benefit or not of the kind of brand that we're carrying in Nigeria at this point in time?
Thank you very much for the 3 or 4 questions loaded into one. Let me start first of all by saying that either a nation likes it or not, it is already a brand. You're either a good brand or not a good brand. Nigeria is a brand already, so we are not just trying to form ourselves into a brand. I hear people often say, oh, Nigeria is branding. Nigeria cannot brand because Nigeria is already a brand, but Nigeria can rebrand from whatever brand we have, from whatever brand perception we have created into something maybe that is more desirous and all that. Then secondly, Nigeria needs to create a favorable brand for many, many reasons. Because number one, we exist in the community of nations, and we do all of the things that all good nations do. Even if we're not doing everything, we want to do them. We want to attract foreign investment. We want our citizens to be happy. We want to be respected. We want everything that good nations and good brands are. We want very strong perception for ourselves. And that is why it is very critical that every government must have a blueprint of what it wants to be, about its brand perception, about its brand, projection, from the way it runs itself, from to its economy, to security, to education, to its relationship with the citizens, and so on and so forth. And I believe that as we go on into the conversation, I'm going to be saying a bit about this. But before I yield to you, I'd like to say that the Nigerian brand remains a brand of enormous potential. It's a enormous potential. I doubt if there are too many nations that have the kind of potential that Nigeria has. But also we have a brand that is technically under pressure. We're a brand that is under pressure, enough potentials, but also under pressure. And since the present administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu came in, there have been bold economic reforms. We've got to admit this, very bold economic reforms, things that past governments have not even dared to do. But if you put this beside the lived experience of many Nigerians, there's still a bit of gap. We still have some difficulties. And there are issues in terms of our brand perception. There's insecurity, there's inflation, there's uncertainty. All of these uncertainties continue to affect, to a large extent, public confidence. So I would say our brand is not irredeemable. It's a very strong brand. It's a good brand. To a large extent, it's a positive brand. It is a very resilient brand, but it needs urgent rebuilding through performance, through security, through consistency, and through building trust with the people.
How would you describe the Nigerian brand? How would you describe the Nigerian brand today?
The Nigerian brand, first of all, and I'm not speaking because I was involved with the rebranding Nigerian exercise. I'm a proudly Nigerian person. It's a, like I said, it's a good brand, but with many challenges. It's got great potentials, and you can begin to look at all the areas of challenges, and they are a legion. But you can also see a brand that is struggling within itself through its governance to break out, if you like, to come out of many of these challenges and come out looking a whole lot better than the perception that we have. What do you want to say about the Nigerian brand? If I talk as an average Nigerian, what am I experiencing? All of these are my brand perceptions. What do I experience in terms of power? What do I experience in terms of security? What do I experience in terms of education? All of the indices that make up the strength and positivity of a country. Many of them, in our instance, are weak, even though we can see very strong efforts to redeem Nigeria, to make things a whole lot better. So we are not yet where we are. We're a positive brand. I believe we are moving towards positivity. And I'm sure that the next few years will show how successful we are in this exercise.
If you were president of Nigeria, and I suspect you are trying to be president, though I won't tell Bola Tinubu, your friend, that that's your plan, what would you do and what should you be insisting on to ensure that we work towards a positive brand for Nigeria? What principles would you put in place? That's number one. And then number two, what is your evaluation of our state of security or lack of it in Nigeria, and how is it affecting our brand? And I just want Sonny or Jumoke to take on from there and ask the other questions. So what would you do, or what would you insist on? What would be the roadmap that you will put in place? And then what is the state of security, and how is that affecting our brand?
Okay, thank you very much, Ichwa. See, there's absolutely no way, even if Tinubu had 200 years to do this job, he couldn't solve all of our problems. There is no precedent in the world, even nations that are near perfection like Singapore, they still have their issues. If I had to prioritize, if I was president, and the chances are not there at all, I'm not a politician, I'm not interested in politics at all. If I was looking at a futuristic president and if I had an opportunity to do something, I would rest my efforts on 7 pillars. 7 pillars, not 10 pillars. 10 would be going too far. 7 pillars. I would rest my efforts on security. A state of security needs a lot of attention. Number two, I would look at good governance from the local government right up there, judiciary, legislature, and all. There must be good governance, and people must see that there is good governance at all levels. Number three, I would look at economic productivity. What opportunities do we have? There was a time in this country, and I remember when I grew up living in Ibadan, and if I take Western region as an example, things worked. We had cocoa board, we had this, we had that. Things worked, and we had very little access in terms of revenue, and yet things worked quite well. I would focus on economic productivity. I would focus on youth empowerment. Nigeria has one of the largest percentage makeup of young people who are very hardworking, who are very ambitious, who are doing great things. And it's a pity the late President Buhari didn't see this at all when he made those snide remarks about Nigerian youth. Nigerian youth are some of the finest in the world. They are doing great things. They are very active, they are ambitious and all that. Then number four, I would build part of my government on technology. Technology now rules the world. There's technology everywhere. And I'm not talking of just things like AI competence. Technology that can be infused into everything that we do. Technology that can make us perform better as a nation. I would look at our cultural power. It's amazing the kind of strength we have in our cultural power, and it's coming through our Nollywood, it's coming through our music, it's even coming through our haute couture, the people who make clothes. Almost everywhere, Nigerians are infusing a strong cultural power into all of this. And lastly, I will look at credible public communication, and I have not been shy about talking this. I've written stuff on the social media that this government especially can do a whole lot better in the area of public communication. There is a gap between what the government is doing and what the people imagine that the government is doing. I would brief the government. I would make use of the telcos. I would not depend on our NTA or NOA or all of these people. Every phone that you hold is a veritable tool of communication. I will infuse it into public communication. I will carry Nigerians along, tell them the things we are doing right, tell them where we have challenges and all that. I'll make Nigerians co-governors with me, and so on and so forth. I mean, haven't mentioned these seven. These are the seven I would look at very seriously. I would make Nigeria an investment-friendly nation, a proudly African nation. But all of this will not come by wishful thinking. They will have to come by deliberate acts and decisions.
Okay. Good evening, Lolu. My name is Sonny Enebi.
Good evening.
Good evening and welcome. I'll take over from here. Maybe Pastor Itwa can join us a bit.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Nice to hear the 7 things you have enumerated. Very, very good. So in your view, which of these do you think this government is actively doing that you have said they are not communicating enough? What are they doing that they need to communicate to us that we are not aware?
The government is touching. Don't forget that the question was, what key things would I do as a president? And I mentioned those 7. But invariably, the government is touching them all. But how effectively is government touching them? The government, I mean, there's a lot of activity in security. Our soldiers are out there in the north fighting the insurgents. Lagos is a much safer place today than 5, 7, 10 years ago. Security situation is better. It's not where we want it to be, but we have a much better environment. I know the government is trying to invest also in youth empowerment. There are economic productivity loans are being taken to invest in various sectors. The private sector is being invited to join the government. All of the things I've mentioned about are there. But if I was president, I would focus more on them, and I would put as much resource as I can get together, to make them pillars of my administration.
Okay, thank you. It is often said that Nigeria is a high potential but highly contested brand, that we carry a lot of strong positives, all right? Our culture, our music, our film industry, the people, talent, the market size. And I'm sure right from when you were in primary and secondary school, you've always had that Nigeria, the potential in Nigeria. If Nigeria wakes up, the whole of the African continent will begin to get it right. And I'm asking this question honestly. We seem to have gone from bad to worse to very worse to extremely worse. With every successive government we have gotten, things seem to be degenerating. So how are we going to get this potential up and our branding correct? Is it to brand or is it to do the work?
Well, first of all, I don't quite agree that we are going from bad to worse. I always like to be very, very objective.
No. The reason I say this is when
Yes.
it was there, we thought it was terrible. Just taking the last 25 years. When Buhari came, people say, no way. Now, Tinubu is there and people are like, it's impossible. So that's the premise from which I'm speaking from. So you can answer.
Well, you can rationalize every government that's coming. I mean, and I'm speaking now as a Nigerian. If I take it from the Obasanjo period when we transmitted from military to civilian, it was reasonably good. He laid some solid foundations. He paid off all our external debts. He established things that showed that he knew what was doing and that it was a serious government. Then we moved on, I believe, to Jonathan, and things slowed down a bit. He was distracted by all kinds of politics, but he still got some things done. We can then jump on to, we can skip Yaradua, his tenure was shorter. We can move on to Buhari, and in my opinion, this was the time when things slowed down again. All of the gains of the Obasanjo period, if you add Obasanjo and Jonathan together, quite a lot of the gains of that period, many were reversed. You didn't get the kind of energy that Obasanjo infused into the government. And then we moved to the era, by the time we moved to the era of the incumbent President Tinubu, things had gotten really bad. And oftentimes, and I'm not apologizing on behalf of this president, what I know as a player in the government and in the economy, that what he inherited was not good. So everything that could go wrong by the time he came on had gone wrong. So I believe, I'm not close to government, I believe that he has two assignments. First of all, to reverse what was going wrong, and then to lay the foundation for things that have gone right. And we're talking of a period when the resources are not there, when the population is growing and all kinds of things. So overall, each administration has played its part. The current government is trying very well. I mean, there are gaps. Obviously, there are things that could be done a whole lot better, and I've mentioned them. I mentioned them at the start of this conversation. If the president can get around to putting all of these things correctly, I believe that he will set us on the right footing. And you've also got to listen to foreign comments and commentaries, and I follow them. I follow the New York Times. I follow the Economist. I read what they say about Nigeria. I look at the body language of the Bretton Woods organizations. How are they responding to us? Are foreign investors coming back? These are some of the things that you are going to look at, generally speaking. But like I said, we have our challenges. Security is top for me, and a few other things. And but I believe that we have moved from a negative position under Buhari to something more positive. The challenges may not allow many people to see it, but definitely I think we are better off in that respect today than perhaps 3-4 years ago.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. And that brings us to probably some of the major topic of today, which is Nigeria and the Nigeria brand and insecurity. Now, if I quote some statistics, and like I asked earlier on, I said, branding entails, what you actually do or what you are seen to be doing. The indices concerning security and how we are fighting it. The number of people, attacks, kidnap has increased from year to year since 2023. 2023 increased over 2022 even. 2024 increased over 2023, and it has successfully gone up. Whether it is kidnapping, killings, attacks, they have been increasing. So how can you convince any foreigner or foreigner that we are moving in the right trajectory when all the indices are going left?
Well, number one, you don't measure the progress in a country by just one item alone. And I think I said it at the beginning of this conversation. I mentioned that a major issue is security. And again, you got to break it down. When people talk about security, we are not just talking about armed robbers. You've got religious insecurity. You've got banditry insecurity. You've got just those who are taking advantage, who don't have jobs to do. You've got about 2 or 3 categories. Religious fanatics abduct and kidnap. Those who want money abduct and kidnap. So everybody is trying to operate under, but let's just put everything under insecurity. And the way you want to look at it is the government committed to it? I believe so. I mean, our soldiers are always there. We signed an agreement with the government of America. I believe as we are talking, some things are being put in place to reduce the effect of insecurity, especially in the northern part. It's a huge area. It's not something that you can get rid of, not in 1 year, not in 18 months. It's going to take a long time because we are talking of large acreage, places of land with thousands of people who are in charge of all of these things, who are, putting everybody in all of this crisis. So I agree with you totally. Insecurity is a major, major area. A lot needs to be done, but we can't measure the progress of any country. And then don't let's forget, the current government the insecurity did not start. It was there even under Obasanjo. It's been there under every successive government. But I believe that from the little I can see and read, the government is committed to it. The results may be slow in coming. I mean, they've ordered arms, they've ordered helicopters, they've ordered all kinds of things. There are detachments of American soldiers on the ground. Let's see how it goes. This thing took over 20 years. We are not going to get rid of it in 2 or 3 years, I promise you.
Okay. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you quite well.
Okay. I can see a lot of hands up already, so I'll be deferring to allow them ask a bit.
Okay.
You said you are not speaking for the government, but let me ask you this, and this is in your area. How do you think the media narrative, both local and international, have amplified or distorted the Nigerians' image so far? The reportage, both from our local media and international.
Are you talking in general terms of reporting government
Reporting
or
insecurity? No, I'm speaking specifically about the insecurity in Nigeria.
Well, to be honest with you, they can do a whole lot better. But to report this thing better, you and I know the reporters have to be at the location. Many of them are not going there to report, so they're reporting second and third hand stories. I mean, they can do a whole lot better. A lot of what we get to hear about insecurity, unfortunately, we pick up from foreign news agencies and all that. The Nigerian news media isn't doing enough, if I say so. Why they are not doing enough, I don't know, but let me say that they can do a whole lot better.
Okay. All right, great. Thank you. So do you think that Nigeria is still following the branding strategy that you worked with during Dora Akuyele's time, or has that been...
You can see I'm laughing. That's a very interesting question.
Yeah.
Because I worked closely with Dora. I was actually the pioneer CEO of the Rebranding Nigeria project, and I was reporting to the Honorable Minister. I have tried not to say too much about this, but I'll just say a bit here. Yes, we got the mandate of the government. I was appointed by the president, Jonathan. I was working on a daily basis with Professor Akinwunmi, but we had issues. And I'll tell you what the issues were. We didn't have any problem about putting together the strategy. We had very sound strategy. 26 of us were in Abuja for weeks. We put the strategy together. The Federal Executive Committee approved the strategy. And then I was appointed the pioneer CEO. But there was an issue with implementation because the same government who set us up refused to fund us. Why? I don't know. And funding was so difficult a few times. Professor Akinwunmi and I would literally be approaching governors for funding. Money wasn't coming from the same federal government that set us up. As the CEO of the project, my office was in Lagos. I was funding activities from my office. I couldn't even set up properly and have staff and all. I don't want to go into all of that. All of those are behind. But what we agreed, the blueprint is still with me. I think I gave a copy to the government. I kept a copy. I don't know if the copy kept by the minister is still intact. It is still there. It can still be done, but it involves a lot of commitment. It's not rebranding this country and going through social mobilization exercises. It's not what you do in 3 or 6 months. It's a long-term project, and it needs to be backed up by a lot of funding. Since then, I have since, even up till what, 2, 3 months ago, advised government on how it can be funded, even if government doesn't have the money. I set up a structure of public-private partnership scheme that will allow the government to be a part of it, but not necessarily put out the money that they say they cannot afford. It's something that makes me extremely unhappy. Let me just there. The opportunities were massive, and people were willing, but for whatever reason, the government slowed down on it completely.
Okay. No, let's see how we proceed. I do have quite a lot of hands raised, and I'm sure they have some questions for you. The way we do it here is like we allow the audience to ask their questions. Maybe they ask you a question or they can make a contribution to the topic. And sometimes they disagree with some of the things you may have postulated. It's all to get better outcome from our discussion. So I will proceed now to call. I don't know if you have a pen or you want me to help you take the questions.
No, don't worry. I've got a pen and paper here, and I'll try and
so we take questions, and we'll then move on to the rest. So we'll start with Dauda Ayuba. So allow Dauda Ayuba to unmute and let him ask his question.
Thank you very much, sir. Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
I can hear you a bit faintly, but I can hear you, Dauda.
Okay, thank you very much, sir, for the good presentation. I just want to ask a question, though I joined a little bit late, but I just want to ask the questions. You made mention of it won't take the country like 2 to 3 years to be able to achieve the desired result as far as security is concerned. I also mentioned a lot of effort government is putting in place and commitment, like ordering of new aircraft, American soldiers that are on ground, and so many other things. Now, how long will it take the Nigerian government to reduce this level of insecurity and the state of kidnapping and killing of Nigerian citizens? That's number one. Secondly, what is there any strategic security plan on ground with a short-term, mid-term, and long-term plan in order to address the security issue of this country? Because without security, I don't think any other things is going to work again in Nigeria. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much for your question. I will take Bumi Ajani. Allow Bumi Ajani to unmute. I can't see your hand anymore, Bumi. Do you follow? Okay, if Bumi is not available, Dr. Steve, is Dr. Steve there?
Wait a second, we just asked her to unmute. Okay.
Yes, hello. Okay, I was trying to unmute and it was saying I wasn't allowed. So good afternoon. Good evening, everyone. And good evening to the speaker, Mr. Eli. So I want to ask a question about emotional intelligence and leadership. So it is true that when you do reform, typically you expect pain before you start to get the benefits. But there are leaders who manage that pain process better. In my view, the communication, apart from branding, you see, so I hear you when you talk about branding Nigeria and even maybe some advertising to put us in a good light. But sometimes when the product does not match the advertising, it still ends up being unbelievable. So what is your advice for government to manage communication in such a way that even Nigerians that are feeling the pain will empathize or will support or have a belief in Nigeria? One example I was going to give is like when you look at America, you keep wondering how come Americans are so patriotic, at least largely before Trump anyway, but largely so patriotic. Right on the streets, you see the quotes of past leaders, all of this. You just feel that sense of pride in being an American. Why is Nigeria not doing that? And what's your advice to government to handle that, especially when you're going through painful reform? Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll take one more. Is Dr. Steve still there?
Yes, sir. Good evening.
Go ahead.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Our distinguished speaker. I'm very excited about your perspective, and it is quite interesting. But the only thing I want to point out that most of the time when we talk of rebranding Nigeria, we always look at the federal government. The federal government is too far and is too distant from the people. We need to start this rebranding from the local government level. If the federal government is not doing well, a local government may decide to say, oh, I want to be different. I want my people to be hardworking. I want my people to be passive in this way. Then we go to the state. Then before we'll be talking of the federal. Apparently, of the time, we think the federal government have lost it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay, Lolu, let me allow you answer those three.
Okay.
Come to the next, yeah.
Thank you. As I always do, I'll start with the last speaker, Dr. Steve, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
And your opinion are aligned with it completely, 100%, if possible, 200%. But there's a reason for this. The primary ownership of rebranding rather than branding of a nation still rests with the government. And I'll tell you why. And that's why when we were going to pursue the project that produced Good People, Great Nation, it started from the federal government. They went into other arms of government, they came to the private sector, and they appointed 26 of us, and we sat down and put the paper and strategy together. Then they set up a body, not quite government, private and public, called the Rebranding Project Business Support Group. And I was the pioneer CEO. And we were supposed to go out there with government behind us, talk to private sector, talk to states, talk to local government, talk to NGOs, and marshal everything that we needed to run a robust campaign. But we needed some sort of takeoff grant. We spoke to clients that were willing to support it, but they said first they wanted to see what government was doing. Unfortunately, at that point, the government didn't do anything. So I agree with you that while it's a government initiative, it's supposed to involve everyone, and it's supposed to especially involve the private sector. If I was in a position to advise this government, if this government was interested in rebranding Nigeria, we would follow, a process like this. Let the government set up the people and the structure and everything, then let the government hands off and let the people who are capable, go ahead and do it, gradually. So to that extent, I agree with you. It's not a government project. That's why when government handles this alone, it doesn't work. Under Alhaji Lai Mohammed, I think they ran a 3-month campaign that said something like, I can't even remember, but it didn't work because rebranding is not about sloganeering. Rebranding starts first from internal exercise. You've got to change the habits, the mind, the civic responsibility of the people. And if they are not convinced about this thing, they cannot be strong advocates for the nation. So they got it wrong. They got it wrong from the start, and we told them that they got it wrong, but they went ahead anyway. And we all know how it ended or how it didn't end. Then to Bumi Ajani. Bumi, hi.
I answer for her. Go ahead.
Okay, so She talked about emotional intelligence. She talked about leadership. She talked about prior communication. What can government do? She talked about people having pride in their government. Again, this is not advertising. This is civic responsibility. This is social mobilization. If, as a Nigerian, I'm not happy with my government, there is no way I'll be proud to talk about Nigeria. Let me give you a little example. Once I was at the Heathrow Airport and we were on the queue to collect our visas. And one guy with a backpack, one white guy was walking on, and the security people wanted to stop him. And he said, I'm an American. And they left him alone immediately. The weight of saying an American, the power of saying an American overwhelmed them. Not to talk of here in Nigeria, many people are not even proud. You got to spend some time on the social media and see that people are making negative remarks about government. Why? It is they are talking about their brand experience, and you can't fake it. If I'm not happy going to the market, if I'm not happy going to the pharmacy, if I'm not happy about the price of petrol, if I'm not happy about many things that affect me as an individual, it's going to be difficult for me to be a strong advocate for this country. Until all of these things align and align properly, is going to be very, very difficult. So the place to start, like I said at the beginning of this conversation, is that the government must do whatever it has to do, even if its efforts to restructure the country is very difficult and painful. By now, Nigerians must begin to feel the impact of whatever the government is doing. If they are not feeling it, if things are harder, then it's going to be difficult for the same Nigerians to be strong advocates for the country. I mean, there are no two ways about this. And the third person is Mr. Dauda Ayuba, and he talked about security. And he wanted to know if there was any strategic plan that should be made medium and long term. Mr. Ayuba, I've got very unhappy news. I'm not a security expert. I'm not even a security person at all. If I talk about security, it's only within the context of public communication. The kind of question you ask, I'm sure that people in government in charge of our security apparatus can answer very well. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm not even in government or close to government. So I'm sorry to disappoint you. I have no answer to that at all. But I agree with you that, yes, we need to solve and resolve our security issues. I mentioned it in my opening statement. In fact, when Pastor Itwa asked me about what I would do as president, the first thing I would face would be security. It's so critical, and it holds all other things together. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much. Thank you for those robust answers. Okay, let me take the next set of hands. We have Abubakar Yusuf Abubakar, we have Dr. Boniface Chizia, and then we have Susan Oyemade. And then please keep your questions short, and I'm sure the answers will be short and brief also, so that we can take everybody that I have on my list. Let me cap it up here, so that if you are putting your hands after this, you will know I'm not taking you anymore. So I have Abubakar Yusuf, Dr. Boniface, Susan Oyemade, Professor Nike Grinch, Dr. Itunu Oluwafemi, Peter Akive, Bolu, Stephen, and Ngozi. That's a lot. So let's keep the questions short. And I'm sure Lulu also will keep his responses short. So we'll go to Abubakar Yusuf. Please just ask one question.
Okay, sir. Good evening to all of you. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. Sir, I just wanted to talk about the rebranding. You talked about rebranding, but our security in Nigeria, have been left far, far behind. Because when you look at the developed countries, the orientation they have with regards to security is very, very profound. You see, there is this connection between security agencies and the people. In Nigeria, for example, in Ilori, terrorists operated for 72 hours. And believe me, security operatives were not there. You talked about our security operatives being in the field. And from what we are seeing is we even lack security, personnel out there because we don't have much personnel. So please, I want you to, tell us how is the government going to rebrand the communication between the Nigerian citizens and the security agencies, because it is important. It is only when you can air your voice to the security, you can help them share intelligence or prompt them of a recent insecurity attacks in some areas that they can come to the help of the citizens around. So how are we going to achieve this, sir? Thank you very much.
Yep, thank you. Let's be brief. Dr. Boniface Chizia.
Yes. Okay, so thank you very much. Well, I just have some comments to make.
Okay.
I sympathize with those who come to address us because they have to adopt a mindset that says that the glass is half full, not half empty. Let me just recount one experience I read today, social media. Favour Ofili is trying to transfer. She's a Nigerian from Delta State. She wants to transfer her performance umbrella to Turkey, and then we're trying to resist it. What's happened to Favour Ofili? One occasion, there's supposed to be a drug test that should have been taken 10 months before the event, and it wasn't taken, and she was disqualified. The second one was that, again, she prepared for an event after 4 years preparation. Her name was not uploaded. She wasn't signed on. Now, check this, because we don't have time. Take this on board. Ask yourself, what sort of country operates like that? I don't want to go to other areas. I can talk about poverty and so on and so forth. So Nigeria is a damaged brand. I'm not too about it. And how we are going to rescue ourselves, the journey should better start today. I think that we're in a big trouble the way it is. So let's not try and dress things up and say things the way they are not. I think that this brand is a damaged brand. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. So this brand is damaged. Well, we will fix it. Susan Oyemade.
Good evening, and thank you for giving me this opportunity. I'm not asking a question, but I will want us to think back. Why are we talking about the surface and we are not going right to the root? What was Nigeria yesterday and what is it today? We need to go back and see, the leadership, the way things were run, even by the king, before we have all these politicians. So in my house, when I was young, there was no fence. You can put your things outside, nothing will happen. So where did we go wrong? And what is happening today? The leaders, are they really good leaders that you can emulate? So when we are talking about helping Nigeria, please, we need to go back and see what we can, and not treating the surface. What are we branding? Do we have anything to brand? We need to be sincere with ourselves, because what I would like us to do is to think about, those principles which we need to imbibe: truth, integrity, love, empathy. Because I cannot understand why you will have the whole world and somebody is not able to eat 1 meal a day. Although we have to look at the people, they are also doing the wrong thing. So, but we blame the leader. We have to blame those people who are following them. Who are you in your own organization? What do you do? Why are we deceiving ourselves? I live in a country now, although I'm in Nigeria, but I live in a country where a rule is, where there is a rule, you have to comply by that rule. Police will not take bribe. Lawyers will not take bribe. What do we call them? The judges will not take bribe. You commit an offense, you have to pay for it. So here, once you know somebody will cause, so please, we need to really maybe sit down and have another period when we will talk about how can we now look at ourselves and see what are wrong with us, with the youths, and how we can move on, with that. I think I did a training about 25 years ago. Nigeria today, yesterday, today, and tomorrow. And at that time, that was the beginning of cultism in school and all these armed robbers and so on. If the youths were armed robbers, if they were cultists, what would they be in the future?
Okay,
so please don't let us deceive ourselves. Let us look back and
Okay.
see what we can do before rebranding.
Thank you very much. Susan, I will invite you to our after party. So after this, the main event, we also have what we call the after party, which is where we discuss in depth and we have a lot of time. So if you have time after the whole thing, don't leave. Lolu, let you respond to this comment if you want to, and the question. There are three.
Okay, three people spoke. Abubakar spoke, Dr. Chizia spoke, and Susan Oyemade spoke. Essentially, all three people spoke on the same theme. You know, a deep, strong concern for a Nigeria that we all appear to love so much. Now, for Abubakar, his grouse is, can we even begin to talk of rebranding without looking at security? And I agree with him entirely, even though during the course of this program, I've said the little bit I know about what the government has announced about what it's doing to create a more secure environment. We can only trust the government in this. I'm sure they have their plans, they have their backup plans, and our hope is that all of this will work well so that we can all have a more secure environment. But coming to the issue of rebranding, Abubakar, we cannot wait until the country is 100% secure before we rebrand the nation, because we rebrand the nation for various reasons, for many reasons, for economic reasons, for cultural, for social reasons. So everything can go ahead simultaneously pari passu, and this would be, my strongest advice to whoever is in government, whoever is in charge of these things, and whoever is listening. But yes, I agree with you completely. Security is priority, and government must do all it can to give us a more secure environment. Dr. Chizie didn't say much, but I got the sense that he wanted to say a lot more, but essentially, the impression I got is generally along the line of the conversations we have had. Susan Oyemade, I hear you so well. You're talking about the root causes, what Nigeria was in the past. You talked about our leadership. You talked about what do we, have to brand that everybody is wrong. I have always been of the opinion, and when I was in charge of rebranding for the period, it was always my position also that the governance, the administration of the country is not with the leaders alone, number one. Number two, everybody who is a leader today rose from the ground up. Nobody, at least not in Nigeria, except maybe in a place like the UK, if you're part of the royal family. Nobody in Nigeria is born a leader. We rise through whatever, maybe politics, army, government, whatever, to rise to positions of leadership. But what kind of leadership are we then offering when we get there? Oftentimes, when people talk before they get there, what they say is totally different from what they do when we get there. That has been our experience in this nation. And yes, I read you loud and clear, Susan Oyemade. There was a time in the past when things were different, when things worked. But don't forget that if things were that good, because when people talk about Nigeria with nostalgia, they forget that we also, during the same period, had our days of violence, wet here, the first military coup and all that. So it wasn't as if even that period was perfect. The seeds of problems, of issues, of divisions, they have always been there, except that maybe we didn't have a situation where people were so massively corrupt and all that. But all of these issues were there. Maybe they were not as many as we have now. But over the years, they've grown bigger, and we have had to manage bigger, more serious problems. But we'll see how it goes. I mean, it's going to take a whole lot to fix Nigeria the way we are. But I mean, I believe that it is possible one step at a time, taking on the key critical things, and then hoping that with the participation and involvement of everyone, if we leave it to government, it can never work. If we leave it to government, it can't work. Everybody must decide that I'm going to be a part of this. And in my own little corner, this is what I'm going to do. If I'm a trader, am I selling the right things, or am I traveling to Asia to bring in substandard drugs so I can make more money? If I'm a transporter, oh no, everybody must prepare to play his role, and then hopefully with the right leadership direction from those who are up there, we will end up with a nation all of us will be proud of.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll take the next questions. Professor Nike Green first, and I'll take Dr. Itunolua and Oluwafemi. Morning, Prof.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Akinwunmi. I really commend your spirit about talking to us about the past. The past when you try to build systems and institutions. This was what General Obasanjo tried to do in setting up the policy of SEEDS, the State Economic Empowerment and Development. The policy provided for the withdrawal of government from direct production and distribution of agricultural inputs to farmers for the private sector through the Growth Enhancement Support Scheme. Unfortunately, that system was not allowed to gel, to consolidate. And so, it was taken apart with subsequent governments or by subsequent governments. And, what he tried to do was to pass on this development strategy to the states and local governments. Yes, now we're trying to do that, but unfortunately, it's not the system that we're trying to pass down. We're giving them money without actually giving them an overall strategy, which they would now take on and develop according to their own resources and potential. So I think we need to go back in branding to that type of strategy. You did mention that you would do that if you were president. However, what you did was to list what you would do. I think that we need to put all these into a system and build institutions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, man. Let's go on now to Olufemi. No, sorry, Dr. Itunolua. Allow Dr. Itunolua to unmute. If not, Olufemi.
Who did you say? I think the next hand I see is Peter. Should I unmute him?
Okay. Unmute Peter, but unmute Peter.
Dr. who? Give me the name again, please.
Dr. Itunolua Ario, I think.
Okay, she's I see that. Okay, hold on one second. Okay, we've asked her to unmute or him.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Elder Lolu Akinwunmi, good evening, sir. Just yesterday, there was a video that went viral showing what happened in F-Room in Delta State, where a policeman in broad daylight, after having restrained a young man with his hand tied to the back and his leg also chained, openly, he brought out his gun and fired the shot at the guy's head and killed him instantly. There were other policemen standing beside him. None of them did anything to dissuade, appeal to him, or restrain him. And when the guy was killed, with his blood dripping on the ground, they joined him to carry the dead body into the police van that they brought. Good enough, by yesterday, the IG promptly acted and has been suspended along with accomplices. And so much has been promised after their prosecution. Now, when you were appointed, a lot of us who knew you knew that you were not going to succeed, because for them, it was a job for the boys, whereas the Lolu Akinwunmi that we all knew will not be a part of any shenanigan that will spoil either his name, his career, or his Christian leaning. Looking at that video, the public relations officer of Delta State still had the temerity to come and tell us that the boy was shot during a crossfire, whereas the boy was already completely restrained. Now, if we take the police as an organization, I grew up being told that police is my friend. By the grace of God, I'm inching towards 70, I'm 66 plus. And the same police that I was told is my friend could brutally, in cold blood, killed a human being without letting him go through the prayers of judiciary and adjudication and all of that. The question is, if you are called back now, assuming say, come and let's rebrand Nigeria, where will you start from? I'm speaking from Benin Republic. I have to leave Nigeria and go and be living in a village in another country. Why? I feel safer here than in my country of birth. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tunolu. I appreciate that. Let's take Olufemi, if he's still there. Olufemi Ifa Turoti.
Not here.
Okay,
Olufemi is not here.
Okay, take Peter. Peter, is he here?
Peter, we've asked him to unmute.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Good evening, all.
Good evening.
My question is this. I'm trying to reiterate the question asked earlier by Pastor Itua, and then a contribution made by Mrs. Susan. Now, exactly, the question was asked, what exactly is the Nigerian brand? So far, if maybe I'm not paying much attention, but I've not really heard the exact branding. What is the Nigerian brand? And what I'm talking about is rebranding. But before we are more Nigerian, of course, in terms of age and experience, what exactly, I just want to know for the younger generation, what exactly is the brand? Is the brand identity? Is it the name? Is it the national anthem or the flag? What is the brand ideology of Nigeria? What can we say is the ideology, the brand of Nigeria? Because we need to know exactly before what the brand is, before we evaluate, so that we can evaluate, has the brand failed? Does it need adjustment or an upgrade? Before we can talk about anything about rebranding. Being an ambassador, I think you said you were part of the team for Rebrand Nigeria. What exactly was the brand that you are advocating to rebrand? What did you see in Nigeria that has failed that you are exactly wanting to rebrand? I think that's my question.
Okay, thank you very much. Great. Lulu, let me let you take a jab at this. We still have about 6-7 hands, so if you will be brief with your response.
All right. Thanks very much. I mean, just as I imagined it would, the questions, nearly all the questions have taken on political overtone, and I can understand. They reflect, I believe, the mood of the people. The first person asked about the structure of governance, institutions, and states, and I believe already I mentioned this. If you are going to talk about, don't let's even use the word rebranding. If we are going to restructure, re-engineer this country, it's got to start from the very beginning. It cannot start from the top and operate at the top and then end at the top, and then presto, the nation is rebranded or restructured. It's going to be extremely fundamental, number one. Number two, it cannot be anything that we done in 2 years, in 3 years. I recall one of the branding campaigns run by South Africa right after apartheid ended. It took 10 years, consistent communication. And people imagine that branding is just about advertising. The Good People Great Nation had many components. Advertising was just a small component of it. Educating the people, changing the mindset of people, civic responsibility, social mobilization, all of these things combined together. And the role advertising plays is to communicate all of these values. But people imagine that when we talk of rebranding, you are simply thinking of running ads on the media. That is not rebranding, and that is not branding at all. Those are just media that you can use to convey the values that you are trying to share through rebranding. So I agree with the first speaker. We've got to look critically at the structure of governance from states to institutions. And then one of the things the gentleman mentioned was control, for example, on states. The kind of constitution that we have, the president has no power on state governors. He cannot tell them how to spend their allocation. Maybe he can talk to them privately or appeal to them, or like he did some time ago when he announced that states were now getting more money and they should do more for the people. But how the money is spent depends on the state governor. And so the people who can control and put a measure of control on their state governors are the people. It cannot be the president. Our constitution is not structured that way. Just like now, it's been done in such a way that local governments are more independent of the state. So I think that settles that. Then Dr. Temiloluwa, I like your analysis and how you tried, to go what you mentioned about the policemen and all that, and it is very, very unfortunate. Things like this should not be happening, not just in Nigeria. Look at police brutality in America, and that is supposed to be a country that is, supposed to be advanced. These things are human problems. They should not be happening. There are no excuses for them. I'm happy they said the IG has promised to do something about it. Why some of these things happen, sometimes we don't know, but they should not happen at all. The policemen they are servants of the state. We are paying them salaries to serve us. They cannot become sources of threats to us. Maybe it has to do with the kind of education orientation, but something has to be done. The way they stop you at on the road, at junctions, how they try to intimidate you, all of these things, they need a lot of re-education and reorientation about how to relate with the public. And I'm hoping that somebody will take it upon himself or herself to. It's a pity that you moved to Cotonou because you wanted something that will give you more peace of mind. It's really a pity. But I'm hoping that you'll come back soon when the things are better in Nigeria. Please don't stay in Cotonou for too long. And then the third person talked about brand ideology of Nigeria. Nigeria does not have a brand ideology. It may have political ideology, but it doesn't have a brand. There's nothing like brand ideology. A brand is simply the perception of people about the nation. That is the kind of projection that branding does. What do I feel? What does Pastor Itwa feel? What do you see? What is your impression of Nigeria? And it's totally based on your experience. Pastor Itwa's experience cannot determine my experience. Every one of us must have an individual experiences to be able to say, okay, this is our perception. This is, this is the kind of image that we have in our minds about Nigeria. And it's so fundamental. It cannot be forced on people. If I go out there and I come back and there is no light and there is no water and there's insecurity and things are expensive and all these things are happening, I have formed an impression of brand Nigeria. That is my impression of brand Nigeria. If the government, like they can spend 200 billion to run a campaign and all, everything still comes down to the fact that what is my experience of brand Nigeria? And if it's negative, it's going to be extremely difficult. And that is why I said to repair Nigeria and change its image and brand, it's got to be fundamental. Things have to change right from the beginning. The efforts and the results must be seen. Things must change. It won't be by slogan. Nigeria cannot be run by sloganeering. We've gone past that. Maybe in the days of the military, oh yes, but things have gone far ahead of that. You know, people want to see credible things. People want public communication. They want to be informed on time and correctly. We don't want people telling us lies when things are going badly and they are saying that it is not going badly. Our experience shows us that it is not going right. What people want to hear instead is, why are things not going right in spite of the efforts that are being made? This is the way to build trust with the people. And if you don't build trust with the people, you cannot present a credible brand to the people. And the people, therefore, cannot be strong advocates for brand Nigeria. It's a cycle, and that is the way it works. And so there's a whole lot of work for government. It is not a matter of running campaign in Daily Times, on NC and all that. That is not rebranding. That's something entirely different. Rebranding is more fundamental. And I'm hoping that one of these days we'll have a government that is going to understand this and take it up more seriously. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much for your robust response. We have Bolu, Stephen, Ipalibo, and Ngozi. Is Bolu still there? Okay. If Bolu is not there, do we have Stephen Ipalibo? Okay.
I've asked that to
Hello.
unmute.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, Bolu, go ahead.
Okay, good evening, Mr. Akinwunmi and everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. I joined a bit late, but I think I got a lot of the questions. The rebranding or re-engineering, I've heard you talk about social mobilization, the civic contract, government involvement, but I haven't heard you talk about the social contract. And I'm wondering, how will the rebranding actually tackle the issue of the challenges with leadership in Nigeria? It's not just about the corruption, it's about how we are branded in interviews like the one that Bwala had. So how does this rebranding actually tackle the issue of leadership? Or will it be a case of disbelieving the evidence of our eyes? Or are we going to follow models like the Singapore, where it was the government themselves, by their example, that, really spurred on the rebranding, which was not just a rebranding exercise, but it actually re-engineered the society in terms of systems and progress.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Stephen Ipalibo. Okay.
I don't see Stephen here. I think, which are the last hands you're taking? I see Ngozi, I see Mohammed, and I see.
Thank you, Mr. Akinwunmi. My name is Ngozi. I'm calling in from the US. My question is, why don't we focus on changing the issues on the ground before coming to rebranding? I don't know how this is going to have any positive impact on the lives of Nigerians. The people are suffering. So I don't know if trying to, I've said this before on this platform that I think this rebranding thing, when it comes to Nigeria and where it is right now, is like putting a wrapping paper, beautiful wrapping paper, putting rotten fish and wrapping it. The smell is going to come out eventually because people will hear what you're saying, but what's on the ground is not what is actually happening. So that's my first comment. Why don't we focus on changing things before we can start talking about rebranding? And then the other thing is we're talking. Someone was saying earlier on about Americans being proud of America, and I said, you can go to school here. A child can get up to high school without paying a dime, and then they can get student loan and go to university. You can't get that in Nigeria. A high school student can go to Walmart and pick up a job and be paid $16 to $20 per hour. University graduates in Nigeria don't have jobs. And when we're talking about rebranding, I can jump in my car and drive from New York to California. No armed robber on the road, no kidnapper, no bad road, killing me in an accident. Of course, I'm going to be proud of America if I was an American. And then we're talking about people, communication about taking the pain while the changes are going on, while our leaders do not have any fiscal responsibility. They're living large. They don't even deal in naira anymore. It's in dollars. They spend the money in dollars. They share the money in dollars. And then the poor man who has 5 children earning 30,000 naira per month has to bear the pain while our leaders are leading reckless lives. I mean, how is that rebranding going to positively impact on the man on the street? And then the third thing is recently it was reported that the government paid an American firm here millions of dollars to show up Nigeria's image. I don't know if you have any, if you have any idea about that. So, but you have done a lot of work for rebranding in Nigeria, and they're not even looking at it. Probably because you will not be in a position to share some of those millions of dollars with them. So they are not going to probably consider what the work you have done. So, I mean, how can we change what's going on in Nigeria before we even start talking about rebranding? Thank you.
Thank you. We would have Stephen Lawson. Please keep it quick. We're coming to the end.
Thank you, Auntie Jomi. Egbon Lolu, it's good to see you here again. And you are published.
Speaking?
Yes, I'm here.
Who's speaking?
This is Stephen Lawson, sir.
Oh, okay. How are you?
You are fine, sir. You had published an article or a paper on Facebook, which is why Nigeria needs a national public communication policy.
Correct.
And I think that ALG will like a copy of that. But my questions, and I think somebody made an allusion to that in terms of using Singapore as an example. The political class and political culture that we perhaps operate in Nigeria, where we have the political class very comfortable with the way things are, do you think that that kind of political culture will be able, to the degree to which we expect a different story for Nigeria to be able to help us cultivate a national communication policy that can help just not address the branding issue, but also the Nigerian identity? And not to forget that there were Vision 2020, there were different transformation over the years. But all of that did not even help achieve not just communication, not just branding, even the way of life of Nigerians. Today, Nigerians are being chased away from Ghana, South Africa. Even within our own country, where the value of life is nothing to be written about. So where does our political culture come to play in order for us to be able to craft a national communication policy at the same time engineer our brand? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can you please take those three, sir, and then we'll take the last two hands?
Okay, you want me to respond now?
Yes, sir. Thank
you. Okay, let me respond with the last speaker. Thank you very much. First of all, I'm happy to share a copy of that document with you. When this program is over, if I know how I can get it to you, that's not a problem. You know, you've said so many things. Let me refer to one of them. I think you mentioned the issue of PR, engaging PR firms to show up Nigeria's image. We have said it over and over and over again that it's a total waste of money. Not because I'm in the communication business, but the people you are spending so much money to impress, they have more up-to-date information about you. It's not working with them. You are not influencing their decision. You are not influencing their thinking. They come to Nigeria, what they experience is not positive, and now you pay some PR firm on the 6th or 7th Avenue. You want them to say, write some good editorial in New York Times or Washington Post. It's not going to work. Those days are gone. Whether they will listen to us or they will not listen to us, that is another issue. But I thought I should make it plain that government should stop these things. They won't work. They have never worked and they will not work. Then number two, and I want to try and answer, put everything you have said, that look, everything you have talked about is rebranding cannot solve them. Rebranding is the goal. Rebranding is not the process. Rebranding is the goal. At the end of the day, we want to say we've been able to rebrand Nigeria. But what do we do to get to that destination? Those are the things I meant by civic responsibility, social mobilization, and all. It starts from there. It is not advertising. It starts from the nursery school, primary school. We have to reintroduce courses like civics, which I had in my secondary school. You have to introduce all of this in the army, in the police, in the civil service, everywhere. You've got to change the way Nigerians think about themselves. You've got to change the way Nigerians think about Nigeria. It's got to affect our politics. It's a it's a massive project. At the end of it, if you are able to do it well, that is when you have succeeded in rebranding Nigeria. Those things themselves are not rebranding. They are steps and stages towards rebranding. Rebranding will involve fresh culture, will involve. I have a document that I produced when I was appointed the CEO of Rebranding Nigeria. I think there's just one copy. And it lists all these things. And we cited even Singapore that people mentioned today. It was extremely difficult. Don't forget that a lot of the people who are in Singapore are also of Chinese descent. It took years and years and years. And that is why when people live in America and cite America like Ngozi, who made very fine points about somebody being able to work in Walmart and driving from one city to the other. But what she didn't say, and I'm not saying this because I disagree with her, that we have a lot of gun crimes in America. In spite of how good that society is, people wake up, walk into a church, and just begin to shoot them with guns and kill them. We have policemen who are still brutal to blacks and Hispanics. We have a current president who wanted to enter into the Capitol Hill and literally cause a civilian version of a coup. Every nation has its problems. Some are being run better, and I'm not excusing Nigeria, but I'm saying that we should not just do country by country comparison. The issues we have are different, and we've got to develop homegrown situations, to resolve them. It's easy to go and live in Benin. It's a smaller country. They don't have the challenges that we have. Look at Ghana. Until Ghana began to make some money, they didn't have issues. Then we began to have issues when Ghana saw some small oil and they began to make a bit of money. But let's focus on Nigeria. The solutions are within. They are not in America. They are not with any PR firm. They are not with comparing us with Singapore. We can see those people and learn some things from them, but the solutions to our problems are internal. And we know them and we are able to do them, but do we have the discipline? Do we have the commitment? When you become a politician, are you going in to serve or going there to chop because it's your time? All of these are issues of orientation, and they have to change. And they take time to change. And unless somebody is ready to say, look, I know this thing is difficult, even if I have to sacrifice my life, I'm going to start it, then we will not have the kind of change. That is why when the government started a campaign that was built on change, we told them that it's a good concept, but are you ready to invest in it? Are you disciplined enough for the kind of change that you are advocating? And then, the message was changed to the change starts with you. Okay, so they moved the goalpost a bit. All of these things, all the questions you have asked today are all related. They are socio-political issues. They are issues that we must sit down and see how we are going to resolve them. Some of them will come by legislation. Some of them will come with restructuring. Some of them will come by all manner of things. Then it is only then that we can begin to talk of doing things that we then rebrand and change the image of this wonderful, great nation. Let me just end there.
Thank you very much. And we're going to take the last hand, Dr. Shola Alimi. There was another gentleman who had his hand up, but I think he lowered it. So if you could, please, we've asked you to unmute. Dr. Shola, please unmute and ask your question.
Hello.
Okay,
Hello,
we can
sir.
hear
Hello.
you.
Hello,
Go ahead.
sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. I want to confirm appreciate.
Okay, I believe we lost his audio because of time. I'll move to the last hand. Dr. Boyo, please go ahead and unmute. And if you can keep it succinct, we're at the end of the program. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. And Lola, this is Boyo, Omadili Boyo, Police 79 platform. And
Okay.
yes, I appreciate all what you have said, sir. And like you have said, the problem is not just rebranding or branding itself. The problem is to change the individual. There's so much has been said and a lot of focus on the federal government, the president, the ministers, the National Assembly. But we need to understand that the problem is systemic. It runs through our educational sector, runs through from nursery school to university, what people are learning and going to school to learn today, and the attitude that makes up a Nigerian has been perverted. So much has gone wrong. Like somebody said about, people are living way beyond what the ordinary Nigerian can even comprehend. So I would rather suggest that we sit down and look inwards at the churches, at the mosques, at the family life, those three things, the religious life and the family life, and to start working on these things from within. There used to be an institution in Ibadan in those days called Society, Church and Society, something of that sort, Institute of Church and Society. I think there's a very big problem from the foundation of the family life and foundation of the of the of the society itself. that's going up, family life, society, school, education, and everything. The corruption we talk about is perverse, it's everywhere. Both, I mean, within families, within institutions and things. So what am I trying to say? I'm trying to bring up, can we as a body, as a round table, as this um, um, this Zoom platform, still begin to do a lot of work on the at the micro level of family life, of school life, primary school. You talk about civics. We all grew up in a generation where what was taught in Ibadan was taught in Meduguri, what was taught in Benin was taught in Sokoto. You know, I'm talking of people, I mean, people that were born maybe in the 50s and 60s. School system was virtually the same, and you got to learn all these things. When you go to 100 level university, many people that read Achino Achebe or read, virtually read the same thing, virtually watch the same TV and things. But now the disparity is so much. I'm talking from the States, and I live in Nigeria and also in the States. And I can tell you that it's easy to want to say this place is heaven until your eyes get open and your children's school here, you find out that there's so much going on here that it's not the heaven people think it is, you know. So I will suggest that we find a system of dealing with these issues. I know we have ethical revolution, national orientation agency, MAMSA, and things like. We need to still deal with this level at the microscopic level, at the family stage. I don't know how we're going to do that, but I will say that that is where the problem is coming from. What we see at the federal level is a manifestation of the problems at the family level. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. All right. Go ahead, sir. I believe there was Bolu had stated that you did not answer her question, which was how does rebranding deal with leadership? Or sorry, how does deal with leadership and failure in fulfilling their part in the social contract?
Rebranding will not single out leadership, at least not the aspect of rebranding that we wanted to structure. Even the leadership itself had to go through the process of purging and rethinking. You see, I'll tell you in very simple terms, the greatest problem we have in Nigeria is that we, for what? Too many years under soldiers, under civilians, we are cast in a particular way of thinking and behaving. And either you like it or not, from year to year, these things have not helped us. So first of all, we have to empty ourselves, shake off all of the things that are not working. They are within us. They are not outside there. And we have to begin to refill us with the things that are ideal. Why, for example, would a Nigerian finish eating banana on the streets of Lagos and throw the pills anyhow? And yet the same Nigerian would get to London, he will eat banana and will be looking for a trash bin. So it means that somewhere within that Nigerian, he knows what is right. But within an environment that is called Nigeria, he believes it doesn't matter and he can get away with it. These are the things that need to change. And they've got to be done gradually. They've got to be done consistently. They've got to be, it's not something the NCA will make noise about every night and all that. It is not that. It's going to be taught in schools. People have to see the benefit of doing what is right and at the right time. It takes time. Everybody likes to visit Rwanda and come back and say amazing things about them. Nobody talks about the fact that all of these things were produced by blood and discipline. 3 million people, 1 million or so people died. And then they took a decision, things will have to change. And they began to commit to, to these ideals. That is what we need to do. It's going to be painful. It's going to be very challenging. But if we, I mentioned, I have a blueprint. It is not perfect. Something we put together, which if we're able to implement with the support of government, the private sectors, the NGOs, the states, individuals, we can at least begin to move forward. So if I didn't mention what the lady said in particular is because there is no time. There are many things that I have noted here that I haven't mentioned. We don't have the time. If we had to mention everything, we'll be here for hours, talking about them. But I'm glad that in general terms, everybody agrees that there are issues. Everybody agrees that we need a change. People don't know or don't agree on how the change will take place, how the process will begin, who is going to drive it, who is going to be involved, how long will it take, and so on. All of these things we can then agree, but we know that there are issues and we can't continue to go on the way we are going on. It's not going to work.
Thank you so very much, sir. I'm going to ask Pastor Itwa to come up and close. I don't know if you have any comments, parting words that you want to leave us with before Mr. President comes up to close.
Just a brief comment. First of all, to thank you for inviting me, to especially thank Pastor Itwa for creating this medium. It's so wonderful. It's coming from a heart that is passionate about Nigeria, that is passionate about Nigerians. And I truly wish all other organizations, NGOs, churches, mosques, all over the country would create platforms and opportunities like this where we can all discuss and come forth with ideas. We don't even have to agree. The ideas don't even have to be right. But we are talking and we are thinking and we are thinking solution. We are not talking blame. Who started this thing? Who didn't do it? Somewhere in between all of these discussions, we're going to make a lot of sense. So thank you very much, Pastor Itwa, and those who work with you. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for everyone who's been part of this program. Those who have made comments, asked questions. It's also been a learning process for me as well. I'm always learning. And I thank you all and commit everybody to God's grace. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Over to you, Mr. President.
My brother, Lolu, thank you so much. You spoke so well. I've been getting some comments here and there. People especially like the clarity of your 7 points as to what you do if you were president. A lot of people think that Nigeria is unbrandable. I got a comment like, what are we doing with a broken pot? The pot is broken, we cannot brand it. But I think if we have a few good people who mean well and who are ready to make a few sacrifices here and there for the sake of Nigeria, we may be able to move the wheel a little bit. So a few people must keep up hope. As for us at ALG, we're committed to keeping the conversation going. Right now, we've spoken to you, we've spoken to many people. We have an idea of what you think, what your contributions are, what they can be. And every 2 years, we produce what we call a green book. The first one should be out sometime this year. It's reaching final stages of production now, which we'll try and launch and then send to all the powers that be. And the Green Book is a summation of conversations like this, and ideas that people have put forward as to how to make Nigeria go forward. The Green Book does 3-4 things. Number one, it informs the general public of what is possible. Number two, it creates awareness. Number three, it gives advice to whoever is in leadership as to what he can do. And number four, it recognizes talent that's available to wade in should the need be. So that's our contribution. Our second contribution is that we just must educate Nigerians. We must inform them. We must change their thinking. A nation where 20 million people are out of school and about 60 million to 80 million people of employable age are underemployed, and maybe 120 to 150 million people are largely uninformed and slightly uneducated. They cannot take meaningful decisions. It's almost impossible. And therefore, our decision-making process is very, very faulty in terms of the choices that we make. So part of what we want to do at ALG is to inform people And just being here every Thursday has informed a lot of people, got a lot of people enthused and aware, and very, very encouraged. Now we have a very strong youth wing that has just grown organically by itself. It tells us that what the young people are looking for is some kind of leadership and direction, and they're ready to engage and do what they need to do. So that's going very well. So that's giving us a bit of encouragement. Just telling them to think differently, to get involved, to prepare for the future. I think our biggest challenge is the so-called elite, the educated ones, the sort of semi-informed ones, but the ones who are still suffering from some form of poverty in spite of their wealth. Gentleman made a very insightful, very precise remark sometime this afternoon. He says, um, this man is so rich that this man is so poor that all he has is money, meaning that wealth is not meaning that money is not wealth. That the problem we have with the so-called elite is greed, lack of contentment, love of money, which results in sycophancy, fear, lying, and all manners of debauchery, wickedness, and it's affecting the economy. So the Nigerian elite is being bought. They all have various prices because of the great amount of greed that there is. So the country is going to the highest bidders, and it's all a question of transaction and negotiation. That's where the critical problem is. Because if we could excise a lot of people from their love of money and greed, they'll be able to take better decisions and they won't be doing the things they do. So we need to think of a challenge of how to address this group of people who think that money is everything and we must eat. And therefore, because we must eat, anything goes and any kind of leadership is acceptable. So that's a challenge for us, ALG, to see how we address that, how we approach that, how we can get a few seemingly important Nigerians to think a little bit differently from just the love of money and the desire to succeed at all costs. If we can do that, then maybe we can begin to make a bit of a change. One of our leaders that I went to meet many years ago, step into the Nigerian problem, step into the Nigerian problem. His reply to me was that the suffering is not enough. People, meaning that Nigerians are not ready to take the risk and to pay the price. But nonetheless, we must do something and we'll keep doing it. I want to thank my brother for taking the time, the trouble. I also want to thank him for his interest and passion in Nigeria. I want to thank him for looking after his abro, Tomero. I think she might be listening. And for being such a source of kindness and inspiration to her, he and his wife. And I want to thank him for being my friend and brother. Thank you so much. God
Thank you
bless
very
you.
much. Thank
And we
you.
will
God
call
bless
upon you again from time to time. And I hope we can get that document that you did say you have.
Oh
We
yes, I
can
can.
put it
I
here.
will email. I can email it to you as well. I'll
Okay.
get in touch with your PA.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're
God bless
welcome.
you indeed. My love to Madam.
I'll do that. Thanks a lot.
Children. Okay.
Thanks.
So
Bye.
once again, let me thank our back office, Sister Lara. Thank you so much. Chimoke, always. The great Sonny, thank you so much. And Olu and Faye and everybody else who worked so hard to make this possible. Our youth coordinator, Mr. Kentebe, thank you. Shama Obiokolo, who also works with the youth, thank you so much. We're grateful to everybody. We do need resources, we need money. Anybody that's willing to help, to donate, to support, please let us know. we can have a portal where you can consistently make donations so that we can keep this dream alive and keep it going. We also need to engage the younger ones. We need resources to engage them very well so that it can be productive for them. We need all the support, we need all the ideas, we need all hands on deck, we need everybody involved, and we need the ideas that come from the great after party. Having said that, let me yield the floor to the after partiers, and I wish you all very well. God bless you. Enjoy the rest of the evening and have a brilliant weekend. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor. I will call you after.
Okay, no problem. I'm here.
Aye, can you please turn off YouTube now?